oh my gosh, I think this is the answer to our problems, because of course cash flow gets depleted when you're out of stock. And then you have to pay for your goods, but you're really holding the bag for 6 months. They
Yeah.
have to be made, they have to get here, they have to be intake into your warehouse. You have to sell them. Amazon, Target, these big retailers, sometimes you're not getting paid for 3 months. So this really allows you to keep inventory rolling
Yep.
and hold on to your cash for longer. I am so excited that we found Kick Further, and I think it's the answer that Sage Spoonfuls needs to be able to meet the big demand that we've had since March of 2020.
So today we have Liza, CEO and founder of Sage Spoonfuls with us. They just got funded on Kick Further. Hi, Liza. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. So good to speak with you.
Yes. So why don't you tell us about your products?
Sure. So the name of our brand is Sage Spoonfuls. We are a robust line of mealtime products for babies and kids. We've been in business for about 9 years, and kind of from the get-go, we've been a top seller in the category. We have everything from making your own baby food, like prep serving storage, to toddler meals at home and on the go, and packing healthy school lunches. Our mission really is to make healthy easy for busy families.
That's awesome. And what would you say has been your biggest growth obstacle so far with Sage Spoonfuls?
I mean, without a doubt, the supply chain crisis. I mean, we have been growing so much year over year. And, when COVID hit, I felt like it was either kind of feast or famine for companies. Either you really were having a hard time, or if you already had a really strong e-commerce footprint, you know, your sales could go through the roof. And that's what happened with us. Our sales were up overnight 300%, because families were, of course, staying home and cooking more for their children, for themselves. And Sage Spoonfuls is all about family meals as well. And so we were flying through inventory. And at the same time, we were doing two different factory switches. So just as our vessels were leaving the port abroad, the supply chain crisis hit,
Mhm.
and we were without our top seller, which is our glass jars, for 3.5 months.
Wow.
And it was it was so difficult to
Mhm.
go from 300% growth, and you have all this wonderful momentum, and all these opportunities to expand, to then having the cupboards just bare.
Yeah.
And while it's getting better,
Mhm.
um, it's still really an issue, is keeping the inventory flow going
Yeah.
while the vessels are constantly delayed,
Mhm.
so you can keep up with demand.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say, well, why don't you just produce in the USA? And of course, that is absolutely would be the number one choice. And actually, we do have many of our products made in the USA. But the first thing I want to say about that is that it's not as easy as you would think. I mean, I don't think I have them behind me, but our plastic baby food jars are made in the USA. And
Mhm.
what used to be a 6 week turnaround is now a 6 month wait time. And also, we tried moving everything out of our factories abroad, especially our glass jars, which is 80% of our business. And
Mhm.
there are only a handful of factories in the US. And they basically said to us, come talk to us towards the end of 2023.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's literally been keeping up with demand
Mhm.
and having nowhere to go.
Yeah.
That's been, supply chain issues have been so hard.
Yeah. So congratulations. You just got funded $13,000 on Kick Further.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with the funding?
So, $13,000 is not a huge amount of money. We just wanted to try out the platform because it sounded so wonderful and really like the solution to our problems. So we we put the money into glass jars, because really things in the supply chain are never going to go back to kind of the really quick rolling machine that it used to be. So what we have to do as a company, in order to pivot and keep up and grow and not let this really stifle our growth, is order more,
Yeah.
order larger quantities, and order more frequently.
Mhm.
For us, the cadence I would like to have is, something is always in production, Something is always on the water and a vessel is always landing. And that way you can really keep up with demand. So we had this order ready to go, but cash flow was a little bit tight. And then Kick Further, came in and we were funded within, I think, an hour. And then the goods were released. Now they're on the boat, and that's just going to be so helpful for us. We really look forward to utilizing Kick Further for a small company to continue to grow and meet demand. Once we finish this first co-op with Kick Further, we can actually, order blenders and coolers and we can order many different things and just keep everything going. And it's really going to help us get ahead of this issue, because we get a container in, it sells out within a week, and often then the next vessel is 3 to 4, sometimes 6 weeks delayed, and you lose your rhythm. So when Matt reached out to me about Kick Further, I had actually not heard of it. And I said to my partner, oh my gosh, I think this is the answer to our problems, because of course, cash flow gets depleted when you're out of stock. And then you have to pay for your goods, but you're really holding the bag for 6 months. They have to be made, they have to get here, they have to be intake into your warehouse. You have to sell them. Amazon, Target, these big retailers, sometimes you're not getting paid for 3 months. So this really allows you to keep inventory rolling and hold on to your cash for longer. I am so excited that we found Kick Further, and I think it's the answer that Sage Spoonfuls needs to be able to meet the big demand that we've had since March of 2020.
That's awesome to hear. So finally, tell us where we can find Sage Spoonfuls.
Absolutely. So our website is sagespoonfuls.com, but we're available really in all the major retailers. You can find us at Pottery Barn Kids, Target, Walmart, Bye Bye Baby, Bed Bath & Beyond, of course, Amazon. And you can find us on Instagram at Sage Spoonfuls. And if you want some behind the scenes, you can follow me personally at Liza Huber, dealing with supply chain and what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And I just cannot recommend Kick Further enough for really any size business. I personally feel it's the answer to inventory flow issues.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Wonderful speaking with you.
You too.